Welcome back, guys, to another episode of the CineMatch podcast, the show where we take different movies every week and debate and rate them.
Every week.
Well, yeah. Do you know what? I didn't even think of that. Yeah, it's been a while. December's kind of sucked, really, because I was really looking forward to doing like a busy December film, talking about lots of different Christmas movies, but life's got in the way.
I was saying to somebody yesterday, I feel really bad because you've been so looking forward to December all year. Like ever since we started doing it was like Christmas is the one. We finally got here and it's like we've done one episode and fuck.
Yeah. Life's got in the way. Like uni's kicked my ass with the assignments that I've had due. I've been working, and then this week, once I got the uni assignments out of the way, I'm gonna look forward to it. This week I've been really, really ill. Like I spent pretty much like 3 days in bed. I didn't work. I wasn't eating. My throat was like sand. So yeah, that's been rough. But I feel okay enough now. My throat's still a bit croaky, so I apologise if my voice sounds dodgy. But we're talking about a couple of good Christmas movies today, and we wanted to get at least one showdown out before Christmas. So we're powering through with this one. A couple of our favourite Christmas movies. But before we get started, my name is Cal. I am one of your hosts, and joining me as he does almost every week, because it's right now, is Mr. Nathan Sackelhanna. I feel like it's been ages since I've spoken to you. How have you been? Have you had a good Christmas period? I know we're not actually at Christmas yet, so that sounds weird, but the entire month's kind of Christmas to me. So have you had a nice festive December?
No, I've been busy. I
Yeah.
just feel like I've been dead busy and dead stressed, like of a load of stuff. I feel like I've not spoken to you either like for ages. I know it's only been 2 weeks. But you know when you get into a routine of speaking to you and doing this every week, it just really threw me off.
I suppose as well, like this is the first, like before this, we worked together as well, so we were seeing each other a lot then. And then when I left, we still spoke for each. So this is probably the longest we've gone without speaking since like lockdown.
Nice. That almost makes it sound like you've missed me.
No, I meant for you because you just seem really upset.
Oh no. Yeah, no. I have
sympathise me.
I'm not bothered. I have missed you. I've missed this and missed you.
Right.
Because we've not watched a film together in a while either. And so we've not watched a film together in a while either. So that's added to it as well. So, but no, I mean, Chris has been all right. It's not been what I was hoping it was going to be this year, but it's been all right. We've still got the actual Christmas to come yet. Watched a few Christmas movies and what have you, but yeah, Christmas Day will be when I'm truly hit my stride, I'm sure. That's when the food's there. How about you? Well, actually, no, I know how you've been. Shit.
Yeah, I've been ill and rough, but I've still managed to watch a lot of Christmas movies, so there's that, which is always a positive.
If you can't talk, you can still watch.
Yeah, exactly. I've watched a lot as well, like a lot. Just for the first year, I'm spending Christmas without my family. Like me and Ellen are just having a small one at ours for the first time. So we're planning on we've saved a lot of the big Christmas movies for Christmas Day to watch together. Like, so that'll be fun. Like we haven't watched Home Alone yet, which
we watched Home Alone the other day even.
That's a big one. I love that film so much. So yeah, we've got that on the cards, which I'm looking forward to. But what I have watched is many versions of A Christmas Carol.
Yeah,
I've watched a lot, and today we're talking about two of the biggest.
Two of our favourites.
Yeah, absolutely. It's my favourite versus your favourite. We've already alluded to this in the previous episode with the
and all the teasers that came out ready for the episode that didn't come out.
Hey, it's still coming. It's still coming. It's like a Christmas movie. Things aren't gone to plan, but we'll get there before Christmas time, don't we?
And we'll learn the spirit of Christmas along the way.
Yeah. Well,
maybe.
Possibly.
They're saying that. I don't know what's happened. All my decorations have just... I don't know where the hat's gone. And I forgot to turn the lights on the lightsaber. And I can't get up now because I've got a jumper and then just my shorts on underneath. Nobody needs to see that.
No, not at all. Yeah, my decorations have actually got less than all. We might be the only people who take down decorations close to Christmas. I had like a work Zoom the other day. They wanted to call about like a new role. And I was like, right, I should probably take some of this down because I'm like a freak. There goes this sports like important like professional call, and I've got like Christmas presents piled up behind me, like in perfect shot of the camera as well. So I was like, this might look a bit weird.
I can just imagine you wearing the hat whilst you're on the call.
Yeah. Although this is a Christmas present. It's not technically a Christmas theme, but my friend Simo and his partner came around on Sunday before I started filling in. We had our own like mini Christmas exchange gifts, and he got me this. This is my favorite UFC fighter of all time, Max Holloway. So shout out to Simo. First time I'm wearing it, and I fucking love it. So I like it a lot. It's a Christmas present.
Right, wearing R2D2 jumper.
Star Wars Christmas jumper. Who'd have thought it, mate?
Nobody bought it. I know, who'd have thought it? Nobody bought it me. I bought it me. I'm showing it off because I fucking love it.
Yeah, it is nice. It is nice. I mean, Christmas. If it wasn't Star Wars, it'd have been Hawkeye. So I'm not too surprised.
That's good.
But yeah, as we've already said,
Christmas jumpers. 2 of them are Star Wars.
Are they?
Yeah.
I don't even know where that one I bought the other day is. That was exactly the same as the one that I had right in front of me. They're both here somewhere. I'll find them the next time I buy another one that looks identical, I imagine. But yeah, we'll crack on then with the episode. Like we said, we're going to do 2 versions of A Christmas Carol. It's your favourite, which is A Muppet's Christmas Carol, versus my favourite, which is Scrooged, the Bill Murray one from the 1980s. Obviously, there's been, I think they say the Charles Dickens' A Christmas Carol is the most adapted piece of literature ever. There's been so many different versions, so many great versions as well. Some really nice modern ones. I really like that Spirited. I think that's underrated.
Yeah, we watched that for the first time this year. We actually really enjoyed it.
Yeah, some really good songs as well. I thought it was way better than I thought it'd be. There's been some great ones, but these 2 are our favourites. So I know obviously Muppets is your favourite, but I seem to remember you hadn't watched Scrooged until very recently, right?
Last year, you recommended it. I guess it's one of them films where you banged on about it very much that I have to actually watch it. And then when I told you my opinion of it, you were relieved, I think.
Yeah, I hope so. Otherwise, this could be a rough episode. I can't really remember what your opinion was.
Shall I find it on Letterboxd, see what we gave it?
Yeah, God, here we go.
This does not make for good podcasting because I can never remember where the Letterboxd app is. Scrooged, I gave it.
That's not a positive face.
It's a
what? 3? Well, we know how this is going to go then. So yeah, you watched it for the first time last year.
I watched it again this year, and I probably would in fact, I might rescore it.
Do you know what? That's interesting you say that, because Eleanor said the exact same thing to me, because I showed Eleanor it, I think maybe 3 years ago, and she said when we watched it, she was like, I mean, it's fine. And then the year after she watched it, and she was like, actually, I quite like this. And then this year we watched it, and she was like, no, this is a really good film. I think it's one that you do have to grow with. I think it's one that gets better each time you watch.
I think for me, and I've always had it with films that people big up that I've never seen, and Scrooge is one of them that everybody's always bigged up and I just never saw it, that you go in with high expectations. So if it doesn't meet them, you kind of hit low. So when I watched it again this year, knowing exactly what it is, I enjoyed it a lot more.
Yeah. I was like that with It's a Wonderful Life the first time I watched it. I think I said this on the last episode where I'd heard so much, and for the first 3/4 of the first time I watched it, I was like, I mean, it's fine. It doesn't really seem to be what everyone thinks it is. And the last bit, I was like, no, this is fantastic. And every year it's gotten better. And this year,
basically what you're saying, you was underwhelmed at first, but when you was in tears, you were saying it's a good film.
When I was in tears, I was like, it's best thing ever. And then this year, I think it officially became my favorite Christmas movie. Really? I've been watching loads, and I watched National Lampoon's fairly early, which is one of my favorites. I watched Scrooged this week, but I also, I noticed in my head that it was It's a Wonderful Life. I was just like, I'm looking forward to that. I'm really looking forward to that. And then I watched it the other day, and even though I was ill and I was kind of out of it, when it got to the end bit, I was like, fucking, I was in bits. And Eleanor rewatched it for the first time this year. She watched it a few years ago, wasn't too big on it, but this year she rewatched it and she liked it a lot more. So I think that's another one that, because of what's said about it, you do go in with high expectations, but once you've watched it a few times, it fucking gets you.
Do you know what? You don't have to watch a few times for it to be a perfect movie. Muppet's Christmas Carol.
Well, I don't know about that. That's another one that's grown on me. Because similar to you with Scrooge, I hadn't watched that until maybe last year.
Yeah,
which is actually funny because that's the year you watched Scrooge for the first time. It's like we knew we would be doing this a year down the line. But yeah,
you know what? If I told you last year that we'd be doing a podcast together and we'd have done over 20 episodes together, we would have done it weekly as well as watch films together in our spare time. I think you would have called me a fucking liar.
I think if you'd have told me I'd have left the cinema and still acknowledged your existence, I'd have called you a liar.
How fucking rude.
No, I watched it for the first time last year, and I liked it. I thought it was all right. Yeah, it was good. And then I watched it this year, and I was like, no, I actually really like it. I think it is a brilliant movie, and I can see why so many people do have it as the favourite. This will be an interesting episode. Like I said, there's obviously loads of different versions of A Christmas Carol. Before we get started, is there any others apart from Spirit, which we just mentioned, that you like?
No, I'm not really fussed about the Oh, Mickey's Christmas Carol.
Yeah, that's a top-notch one.
That's great, but I don't. There's not that many that I feel like I've watched where I go, I really fucking love this. Like I just, if I'm gonna watch one, I'm gonna watch Muppets. I don't need to watch any of the others. That's how my brain works.
Yeah, that
And not to get too much into how I'm going to score things, but I've got a film. There's a load of films without Muppets, and then there's one film with Muppets. And you can't really, you know what I mean?
Yeah, they do have the strong points. That Jim Carrey one was pretty trash.
I've never seen it. It's one of them films that came out at a weird time where everything tried to look photorealistic. Like
every Robert Zemeckis movie had to look like the creepiest shit ever. Yeah, it's not aged well. But yeah, I think these two are probably actually my favourite two. So it is a good two to do.
To be fair, and I really did enjoy that Spirited.
Yeah, I did.
But I'll probably put that on my yearly Christmas rewatch. But yeah, Scrooged, I really, really love. Grace, not
a fan.
Not a fan.
See, I think a lot of people feel that because it's not very traditional Christmas. It's actually quite dark at times and quite mean-spirited. Like some of the stuff is actually terrifying. Like when, not to get into like some of the ghosts, but the ghosts of Christmas Yet to Come, when they open the robe and there's all the souls inside, it is pretty creepy. Like it doesn't feel very Christmassy at times, but it does at the end, and that's what every great Christmas film does. It wraps it up nicely at the end.
Die Hard.
One of the best. Still yet to watch that this year, actually. I need to revisit that.
I'm gutted. The one thing that, like, the one plan that we actually put in play, and we can say it now because we can't do it in time, is that we were going to do a Die Hard versus Violent Night episode where you dressed up as Santa and I dressed up as John McClane.
I know, yeah.
Well, at least we know what we're doing next year if we're still here.
Yeah, and that gives me a year to grow the beard. It was actually I was talking about it today because me and Eleanor got some last minute Christmas shopping done, and we were in Primark, and there was this like, do you know like the snuddies that people get, the really fluffy like blanket hoodies? We were into Primark and there was like a Santa one which looked like the Santa suit, and I was like, and that's when I told her we were going to do this episode, and that would have been fucking perfect for it.
Gives me a year to have like a little bit more receding, so I'm more John McClane as well.
Yeah, you try get in shape and all if you want.
Nah, I'm already in shape. Not one that I want to be, but a shape. A circle shape.
Right. You can tell we've not done right recording a while because we've been yapping for like 50
minutes. We've barely talked about the films. We just keep dancing around them.
I know, yeah. We'll get started then. We might as well crack on now. We've waited long enough. Waited like 2 weeks, to be fair. So we'll start with the best opening for both movies. As they're both A Christmas Carol movies, you'd expect very similar openings, but they're not really. They are quite different. The Muppets one is much more traditional in the sense of where the setting is and the introduction to Scrooge, but it also stands out with having like the narration from the Muppets characters at the beginning with is it Gonzo and what's the other one? Well, Charles Dickens, but what's he actually called?
Yeah, Gonzo and Rizzo, yeah.
Yeah, Rizzo, that was it. And the way they're narrating the tale, and it's different to what the majority of the Christmas carols are, having those guys involved. And then the introduction to Scrooge with the song, and Michael Caine coming out of the alley, like looking fierce as fuck. It's quite well done. I enjoy that a lot. And then the Scrooged one is very different in the sense that if you didn't know if you hadn't seen it before, you'd wonder what the fuck you're watching when it opens up with the night the reindeer died.
Yeah.
And it's that ridiculously over the top TV action Christmas movie starring the $6 million man, I think it's called Lee Majors.
Lee Majors, yeah.
Yeah. The attack at the North Pole, which for some reason has like a random goth working in Santa's workshop, like just the goth in the background. And you get all that before it pans out and we realise it's 1980s America, and it's not Ebenezer Scrooge, but it's Frank Cross, who is a TV executive, and he's working through the TV ads for the upcoming slate on Christmas that his channel, I think it's IBC, is going to be running, and we see these little these really random Christmas ads. Like, they're obviously satire, but they're quite funny. I'll let you go first then to kick things off. And I mean, I probably know how you're going to go, but how did you score that?
We know how it's going to go, but I really love the opening to Scrooge because it's that you think it's going to be one thing and it's completely the opposite. And as an aside, like, I was online looking for Christmas t-shirts a couple of weeks ago and saw a movie t-shirt for The Night the Reindeer Died, like a movie logo t-shirt, and I completely forgot to send it you. It would have been perfect for you. But yeah, I'm 100% going 10-9 to Muppets because it's such a great opening, because they kind of stay true to the book, like by, reading words from the book. The Marleys were dead to begin with, and then having like the kind of expanding it with Gonzo and Rizzo, making it into a comedy, and having the narrators and introducing that kind of world, and then going into a Scrooge song that kind of introduces you to the mixed world of the Muppets and the humans, and singing vegetables, which is always amazing. Absolutely love it. So it's got that classic feel whilst not feeling modern. Well, I don't want to even say it feels modern. It feels classic but fun. And a lot of like period pieces obviously aren't fun. They're very serious. This somehow seems to feel like a period piece, even though it's got a load of fuzzy felt creatures in it, and it's got a load of fun to it. Scrooge is amazing. I love the opening with the Night the Reindeer Died, and then all of the satire, and then when he like shows his advert for the night his version of A Christmas Carol, and it's fucking dead dark and depressing. It is great, and it's Bill Murray. Like, when we was teasing what episodes were coming and announcing what episode this was going to be, said like this film is just Bill Murray being Bill Murray, and it is fucking, that's the standout, and you immediately get that from the very beginning. But I can't. It's the Muppets, man. It's the Muppets.
Yeah,
I know where you're going to go with it. So
this actually might surprise you, because I went 10-9 in favour of the Muppets. Like, fucking
nice.
Suck on that. No,
no.
I really like the Scrooge open. I think it's hilarious, and I think the way they mock, like, especially in the 80s, like the mindset and the way they were trying to make things edgy like that, and the way they like spin it on its head and like use it as satire, I think it's so funny. The Night the Reindeer Died is fucking golden, and just having Lee Major's cameo in just that one role, it's so good. And then the stuff with like, which they explore further on with IBC's version of A Christmas Carol, and the gymnastic version of Tiny Tim, which is just some Olympic gymnast woman. It's like, what the fuck are we seeing here? It's so good. And then Frank's meltdown when he's talking to his team about how bad it is, and then Elliot speaks up, and he's like just having he's losing his mind to them all, saying how he's gonna have to kill all of them and stuff. It's so good, and I think it's a good introduction to the character. But like you said, I think having the Muppets one open up traditionally, but putting that Muppet spin on it, I think it's really effective. Like, a lot of Muppet like Christmas carols open up, obviously they're set, a lot of them are set in that time. A lot of them do introduce Scrooge like quite similarly, but the Muppets put that spin on it where you see the environment with them like intertwined into it. We get that bit with Gonzo and Rizzo at the beginning, like narrating the story, and the whole fun bit where he's pretending to be Charles Dickens and he's being called out for it. I think it's really fun, and I like the musical number at the beginning as well. So I actually went 10-9 in favour of Muppets as well, which, yeah, that might surprise you. My scores are actually, it's a lot more even than you'd think. So my scores might surprise you throughout this.
I love to tell you, but I'm doing this as we go. I've not even.
Yeah, you're off the cuff, which means the scores where I go first and I go Scrooge. I might have to give some really impassioned speeches to see if I can sway before you give me a score.
That's pretty much it. That's pretty much it.
We'll move on then to the best ending.
Move on
because I didn't want to do story because they are exactly the same essentially.
Yeah, I mean,
the only ways they're different, I think, is the ways we'll compare the different versions of Scrooge. Yeah. So I thought I'd leave it for that. So yeah, we'll do the best ending then, because these are fairly different. The Muppets ending is, like I said, it's a lot more traditional again. It's Scrooge waking up in his bedroom after the crazy events. He sticks his head out the window. He speaks to the little boy at the bottom, like we see in almost every version. He sends him off to get the fucking turkey, whatever the fuck is, gives them money, sees the men that were begging for charity, sorts them out, goes round to Bob Cratchit's house. Do you know what I never understand? And I don't know if it's because Scrooge got a sick sense of humour, but he rediscovers how happy he is. And he's so happy to see everyone, but when he goes to Cratchit's, he acts like a prick for the first 2 minutes. And it's like to trick him. He gets really mean again, only to reveal how nice he is. It's so weird.
Yeah, but when I'm in a good mood, and you know this from experience, I will purposely try and wind people up by pretending I'm in a bad mood.
So what we're saying is Ebenezer Scrooge is a little bitch like you.
I don't like using the word little to describe it. Bitch, maybe.
But yeah, I think it's funny because he does that, and it's almost the same with all of them when he goes around to Cratchit's and he acts like a real bean bastard for first couple of minutes, then he surprises them all that he's nice again. But I do like in this version with Miss Piggy's, like when she really fucking hands his ass to him. I think that's really nice. Probably shouldn't take a drink mid-speech, but the thought's killing me. And then in comparison, the ending to Scrooged is quite different, where he hasn't just
very different.
Yeah, because it doesn't all take place in one night. It's spread across, I think it's the entire day. So it's during the daytime when it's all going on, and he doesn't wake up in bed. He finds himself in the studio where they're filming the live showing of A Christmas Carol for IBC, and Frank Cross storms onto the show and takes over, and he just gives a really impassioned monologue to the camera with Elliot, who has been his enemy, chasing him through the film, and now they've teamed up, holding the cameraman hostage with a shotgun. While
very different.
Yeah, while Frank's boss is sat at home furious, and he speaks to the nation and everyone watching about the spirit of Christmas and how people need to be better, and how if you do try, you can be, and if you want to make things happen, it's all down to yourself. And he shouts out to Claire, who eventually shows up. He speaks to his brother. He gives that speech, and it's ended with Calvin, Grace's little non-verbal son, coming up to him and speaking, which every fucking time I'm in bits. And it's a great one. Because I'm going to give my score first, I'm not really going to share too much else about either, but I went 10-9 in favour of Scrooged here, because I think I said to you this when we were doing the category Carnage episode, this almost would have been in my favourite endings across all Christmas movies, because it's Bill Murray being Bill Murray in that speech at the end, and it feels so improvised. There's moments where he stutters over his words, and it feels like it is because it's straight from the heart, it's off the cuff, it's not rehearsed, and I think that makes it feel so much more genuine. And the stuff when the little shout out to his brother when he answers the quiz question, and his brother and his friends are fucking freaking out. I love that stuff. I love Elliot helping with a shotgun. I think it's wild as hell. And the way they tie up, I think it's Bryce Cummins, I think his name is. I can't really remember.
I was just about to say, do you love the fact that that guy that gets tied up is essentially sexually harassed at the very end?
Yeah, I mean, that guy plays Lionel Luthor in Smallville, Lex's dad, and he's one of the most despicable villains for the first half of the show. So it's interesting seeing him, again, be like a smarmy bastard, but definitely doesn't deserve that from that creepy woman. But yeah, it's so good. And the kid, Calvin, showed up, and the way that, it's not subtly hinted at, it's quite clearly highlighted. He's going to say it at the end, when we keep seeing different parts of the film where he watches Scrooge and he hears the line and he nods at his approval at the God blesses everyone line. It's so good, and it ends with the Put a Little Love in Your Heart song, which we'll talk about later. I just love it. I love it so much. I like the Muppets ending, but I think because it's much more traditional, apart from the Miss Piggy stuff, it feels like it's a lot of stuff we've seen before, so that's why I went with Scrooged.
The thing with the Muppets Christmas Carol ending that I really like is that it is very it's uplifting, and it adds that humour with Miss Piggy, like you said. So I agree with you, but it is way, way more traditional. I also like when Gonzo looks at the camera and says, and Tiny Tim, who did not die, and really emphasizes it to the camera. And then it ends with, if you like the movie, you should read the book, which I think is nice, a nice touch. But yeah, I'm going Scrooged as well, 10-9 Scrooge, because all the way up from him kind of waking up and then having a gun pointed in his face, and well, not waking up, but coming out of the elevator, having a gun pointed to his face, and all the way down to the very end. It's just, it switches it up so much, makes it fresh, and you can tell. I don't think we need to guess. It's definitely, a lot of it's definitely improvised. That's Bill Murray. It's 100% Bill Murrayist, like just going around the set. I mean, there's bits where he walks up to a woman, just gets kissed, and then 5 minutes later he's with the love of his life. Amazing. It's all great. And the guy with the shotgun, what's his name?
Elliot Loudermilk.
Elliot, that's it. Love him because the more drunk he gets, the more he sounds like Panic from Hercules, because obviously it's the same actor, but
he's got such a distinct voice, hasn't he?
You can't not hear his voice, like, and it just makes it even better. And then when he starts singing, like when he's walking around saying "loosen up, it's party" or whatever he says, and like starts messing about with people, and like again, all leading up into the song, and having all like the ghosts hanging out in the like the gantry as well, and the guy that died hanging with them. It just it's such a completely different ending that's so, like, in the best way, messy. It's just there, and it just doesn't kind of end. It just kind of goes on and on, but in the best way, the best improvised way. But it's so uplifted as well. It's so, like, positive. You can't help but not love it. And Karen Allen as well. Yeah, we love a bit of Marion from Indiana Jones showing up.
Yeah, I was saying to Eleanor, because I mean we'll talk about supporting cast soon, but she's fucking fantastic in that film. And Eleanor was saying, like, she loves how much of a miserable bastard he is with everyone until he sees her. It's like his heart melts. And I was like, well, can you fucking blame him? Look at that woman. Like, I'm the same. I'm watching her. I feel like I'm a part of the relationship. I think she's fucking great. But yeah, having it, that the bit at the end when he's giving the speech and she appears behind the camera, I think it's so good. I love it. That is brilliant. It's a brilliant ending. We'll move on then to the best Scrooge, because obviously it's a Christmas Carol. What would it be without an Ebenezer Scrooge type character? We've obviously got Ebenezer Scrooge in Muppets Christmas Carol, played by the legendary Michael Caine, who just retired this year. That's sad.
Yeah, because we all saw his picture and thought, fuck, oh no, it's just retiring, it's fine.
Yeah, they always get you with shit like that, don't you? Especially at this age. You can't share a picture of a celebrity online at that age, and heart skips a beat every time. So yeah, you got him in that as the more traditional Ebenezer Scrooge versus Bill Murray as Frank Cross, playing the angry, miserable TV executive in the 80s. Obviously, they're very different versions of the character. Bill Murray's character is much younger, but they're both very good. So how did you score it?
Well, Bill Murray's more fast-talking wheeler dealer, try and get out of trouble ways, like uses silver tongues to get out of trouble ways. Scrooge, played by Michael Caine, is very classic period piece. I mean, everybody says it, but I'm just going to repeat what everybody says anyway. He plays it super serious in a cast full of Muppets, and he plays it as if it was like a proper play or a proper period movie. Two massively different ones, and I love both of them, but I think my heart just will always go to Michael Caine's, because he does play it that seriously, and he elevates it's repeated constantly, but he elevates it by playing it so serious in all of the stupidity and the seriousness. But even, like, he's acting against these giant puppets, well, Muppets. He's like death when he's like, crying in his, like, on his knees to death at the end. Again, it's just a giant Muppet. And then when he's talking to the ghost of Christmas Past, and it's the little girl, the creepy little girl. It's creepier than the deaf one. The ghost of Christmas Future is the little girl. But like acting really well against all of them, like talking to Kermit the Frog as if he was talking to a genuine actor. I think he plays it so well, and he puts across that classic Scrooge as well. Whereas Bill Murray is Bill Murray. Like, if you said he wasn't Scrooge and he was just playing Bill Murray, then you couldn't 100% believe it. No, that's the bad thing. I will always take Bill Murray over literally fucking anybody, even as Garfield over Chris Pratt. But I don't think he gives anything else other than another Bill Murray performance, which, again, fantastic, but it's nothing special, I don't think. So yeah, 10-9 to Michael Caine.
Yeah, that's fair enough. I I went the opposite this time. This is the first time we did Scrooged. I went 10-9 in favour of Bill Murray because, like, Michael Caine is great as Scrooge, and I think, like I said,
end it there. Sorry.
yeah, end the podcast there if you want.
Just to shut it off. No goodbyes.
No, he is great as Scrooge, and I think the decision to play it as seriously as he did and not like approach it tongue in cheek, as many people have with the Muppets and stuff, I think it does work really well for the film, and it does elevate what might not have been as memorable a movie otherwise. Like if it was anyone else and it was played as if they were talking to Muppets, I don't know if it has the same impact as it did. And he's great. And Michael Caine in general is like an icon, and he's had some incredible roles over the years. And he does play Scrooge really well. I think in terms of Ebenezer Scrooge, he's probably my favourite. In terms of all the traditional versions of the old man set in, is it the 1800s? I think I can't even remember the actual time period, but set when it is. Like the more traditional version, he's definitely my favourite. But I like that Bill Murray gives us a different version of the character. I think seeing Scrooge as a younger man and getting to watch him actually, because we always hear how rich Scrooge is and how successful he is, but because in Scrooge we get to see why. We get to see him working. We get to see the way he interacts and the business does make. So we get to see why he's made it to where he has. Whereas in Muppets, he's obviously approaching the end of his life and he's not really the same guy, so we don't get to see how or why he was successful as he was. Like, at least with Scrooge, there's also a bit of charm to him. Like, you can understand why someone like Grace works for him, because even though he's a miserable bastard, there are moments where he's kind of playful with her when he's saying, like, if he has to work late, she has to work late, like he needs her and stuff. It's not quite as stone-hearted as some of the other versions. Like with Muppets, it's hard to imagine why anyone would work for Ebenezer Scrooge. Like, whereas Bill Murray's character, there's still a bit of charm to it as well.
Yeah,
I think it benefits as well from being younger that we get to see the love interest and you get to see him interact with so many different people. And there is, while he's a miserable bastard, there's always already that redeeming quality to him, like the way he interacts with his brother before he goes through it all, when he says he likes spending time with his brother and stuff. You never get to see that in any other version of Scrooge. It's always miserable, miserable, miserable. Now he's happy. Whereas Bill Murray's character is different. Like when he sees Carol Allen's character first time, I can't remember. I don't know why her name's just completely gone out of my head. When he sees her for the first time, he switches. With everyone else, he's miserable, but here he's not, and it's like you get to see the two sides of him early. He's not always that miserable, like bastard. And I like that. And I like the interactions he has with characters. The fast-talking Bill Murray stuff always works for me. I love it. He does it in almost everything, especially in that around that time. Like Groundhog Day is the same, exactly the same. There's obviously a lot of it in Ghostbusters as well. And every time he does it, I'm just shine me the fuck up. I love it all. Like the bit in the elevator when the ghost of Christmas Yet to Come corners him and he's like, that might work for the chicks. Like it's some of the one-liners he pulls out are so good. I love it a lot. And it's Bill Murray. And obviously there's been stuff said about Bill Murray being a miserable bastard in real life and not very nice to work with. But back then, like there were few comedic actors that could just do it like he could. So
agreed.
I had to go with Mr. William Murray.
Agreed, but I will disagree in one thing that you said, in that like all over like Scrooge, like the Muppets one specifically is like miserable, and then he's got a turn of heart. Like as he's kind of going through his past, you kind of see that playfulness come out. Like when he sees his like at the party, like the Fozziwig party, like he kind of lights up because he's like he loved used to being there. And when the Ghost of Christmas Present turns up, and he says, I'm a little absent-minded spirit. And he has that little laugh. He's like, I'd say you're a large absent-minded spirit, because he's obviously taking up the whole room. He's got that little bit of playfulness to him, but not as much as Bill Murray now.
Yeah, I think that's fair. And I think
like what you said, why would anybody work for him? The fucking money, but other than that, no, he's a miserable fucker at work.
Money, it's terrible money, isn't it? Don't they say it's fucking pennies?
I think somebody worked it out. I saw somebody on Twitter work it out at that like time, like £1 a day or whatever he says in the film would work out at like £17 an hour or something in today's day and age. And be like, yeah, that's fucking all right, isn't it?
That says more about like inflation rates in the economy right now. That was still being poor back then. So that £17 an hour then would still be poor.
Yeah, probably.
That's terrible. But that's enough about today's shitty climate. That's for a different podcast entirely, I think.
Yeah.
So next, with the next 4 categories, we discussed this before we started recording, because we struggled to come up with 10 different ones because the films are so similar. So we decided to split all 4 different ghosts into their own categories, and we're going to rate each one individually over the next 4 categories, because, like we said, the ghosts are such an important part to the movie. They're very important characters, and for a lot of them, like you said, they have their own, like, they section the movie up, like they are, like, it splits the movie into those little segments, and each part feels like its own mini story. So it does make sense to rate these characters separately rather than putting them all together, because they're all so different. So we'll move on to the best Marley, in brackets.
We've got no fucking chance here, mate.
Marleys. I think I'm first this time, aren't I? So I'll give my answer right now. You've obviously got...
Get it out of the way.
You are?
So just get it out of the way. The Marley brothers, because obviously they created it into 2 for the Muppet Christmas Carol, are 2 of my favourite Muppets of all time. So just to give you a heads up as where this is fucking going.
Yeah, I'm going to be honest. I haven't even said the name of the fucking Marleys yet. You've obviously got Jacob and Robert Marley in Muppets Christmas Carol, because, like you said, there's the 2. Because I don't know the names of the actual Muppets. Obviously, I'm not really that big a Muppets guy, but I know they're always together. They're always the ones like in like the stands, like heckling, right?
Yeah, Statler and Waldorf, and they're the ones that are always like heckling the Muppets on stage.
Yeah, you've got those 2 playing. Is it Jacob and Robert, which is funny because it's essentially Bob Marley. Is that why they did it?
Yeah, I don't know.
It probably makes sense. But yeah, so you've got Jacob and Bob Marley.
You know what? That has never occurred to me, and now really? I'm going to imagine that's the real reason.
Yeah, it might be. I don't know.
I'm going to ask the internet.
But yeah, you've got those guys in a Muppets Christmas Carol, and then I think they were his business partners, weren't they?
Yeah.
And then in Scrooge, you've got Lou Hayward, who was not Frank's partner, but his mentor. He was the one that gave him his first real shot, and he was his boss when he first broke through into the TV industry and worked his way up, and he's now eventually taken his role.
So it's because they're ghosts and they're like in chains and screaming at him. It's him being named Robert Marley is a reference to Bob Marley and the Wailers.
There you go then. Big Bob Marley getting shout outs by the Muppets. Love to see it. So yeah, right off the bat, I might as well give my answer. I went 10-9 in favour of the Muppets as well, because while I like Lou Hayward's version for the 80s, and I like that he's not just this miserable, like, selfish man. He was more like a womanizer and stuff. Although the moment when he says the women love me, and Frank says you paid for the women, like stuff like that is really funny. I think his character was funny in a sense that he felt more modern to the times, like a sleazy old TV executive that was like a womanizer.
He's in a golf uniform, like golf clothes, and he's got a golf ball stuck in back of his head or whatever.
Yeah, he is funny, and I like when we see like bits of him later on in like Scrooge's, Frank's, when he visits the past and stuff, and we see him at the Christmas party, and we see him trying to take Frank and one of the assistants out while his wife's away and stuff. So we really get a feel for what the character is, and he is good. But having the 2 Marleys obviously immediately sets it as a part of something different. And those 2 Muppets, while, like I said, I'm not a big Muppet guy, even I know who they are. Like, I know the whole shtick where they heckle. I've been to like Disney World a few times, and there's shows there where it pans out and they've got like the Muppets above and they're giving shit to like the audience and stuff. Like, they are known for like that sort of stuff. And the song that they sing, the Marley and Marley song, it's fantastic. It's so iconic. So it was hard not to go in favor of that. No matter, like I said, I really do think Lou was hilarious. But yeah, Big Jacob and Bob, there's no beating them. You can't beat a character named after Bob Marley. I'm sorry, you can't.
Yeah. No, and I agree. The Statler and Waldorf are 2 of my favourite Muppets. They're high up on the list, and having them be the Marleys is fucking perfect, because they are the miserable bastards of the Muppet world. Having them be the ones to like issue that warning is fucking phenomenal. And how the Marley and Marley song is my favorite song on that soundtrack. It's fucking phenomenal. It's catchy as fuck. It gets straight in your head. And they also, like, when they're alive as well, it's the first time we ever saw them as Muppet fans as younger people with the darker hair. And they even do the heckling there when Fozzie gives his speech, and they're like, it was short, we loved it, and it was brilliant.
Yeah.
And doing the classic Muppets thing. So yeah, easy answer for me, because they're just so, again, fun but serious, but I put out another classic banger.
Yeah, they did. Yeah, I think that's an easy one. The next one though might not be as easy, because now we've got the Ghost of Christmas Past. I don't really know how you describe the Muppets one, as other than like some creepy little CGI angel girl thing.
Yeah, it's not CGI. It's all puppetry.
That was puppetry. That looked like it was like CGI. That's
all puppetry. All puppetry.
She's got like the creepy voice, and then you've got like the wisecracking taxi driver in Scrooged. So it's your turn to go first. Then I'm not really sure how you'll score this one, to be fair. So I'll just have to hear what you've got.
Creepy little girl, genuinely, as a kid, scared me way fucking more than the Ghost of Christmas Yet to Come. Her face is creepy. She's ginger, which doesn't help. Like, she's creepy. I actually really like the Ghost of Christmas Past from Scrooged. I really like it. So I'm going 10-9 to him. He's so different, and he's such a fucking sleazebag, and he looks gross. But he's just got this proper fun quality to him he doesn't really give a shit either. Like, as he's looking at the past, he's like, boo hoo, you had a fucking bad childhood, so did everybody else, kind of thing. It's such a kind of refreshing take on the Ghost of Christmas Past that is always very much just like, you had a great childhood, or look how bad your childhood was, or however they kind of do it. It's always more of a sympathetic role, whereas this guy's just kind of like, fucking buckle up, buddy, because we're going fucking, like, who gives a shit kind of thing, and just carry on. And when he's like, is it then when he's saying like, they always cry when they see the mother, and I mean, Bill Murray's acting when he cries there is not the best, but it's still fucking hilarious. And having me a taxi driver in a Scrooge version that's set in New York kind of feels really, really right. So yeah, I went 10-9 in favor of him, because he just, Muppets is classic, and it just goes on that tail as per normal. But the way she's done, because that's not CGI, that's floating material, or a bit of floating. I think some of it's filmed underwater as well, but done really, really well, but creepy as fuck. So for that reason, and for the reason that he's just a better interpretation, I went him.
Yeah, I completely agree. I went with him as well, because I'm really surprised that wasn't CGI. That's really well done, actually. I think it doesn't look real, but it looks like the CGI standards of the 90s, which is actually supposed to be a compliment. Like, it doesn't look like it's a Muppet or anything like that. I think they've done a really good job there. But yeah, it is creepy, and the way the voice, I think like stuff like that's creepy anyway. Like, in horror movies, some of the creepiest characters are like the children.
Soft voice children.
Yeah, fuck that. Get out of here.
Come and play with us, cow.
Yeah, those twins that get mowed down on that fucking track, that bike. Yeah, stuff like that is creepy. So that is a creepy ghost. I mean, the taxi driver though, it's like a complete 180. He's not creepy. He's not like supposed to be scary in the slightest, but he's a real fucking ball buster, and like the way he like terrorizes Frank when he's like upset. And it's so funny when he mentions the fact he's crying, and he's like, "Oh, you already got the waterworks," and Frank's like, "It's just what a touching gift." He's like, "That's like worth so much these days." Like the way he tries to make out like it's because he's actually grateful for it. It's so funny. But yeah, I like that he doesn't take no shit, and he's not willing to be sensitive. He's not there to baby Frank. He's telling him how it is. And when they go to when he takes him to the bit where he's working in the dog costume on the live studio TV show, and he's in the crowd and he's answering, and he's really excited about the questions. I think he's just really funny. Like, he's great. And have you watched the Bill Murray Netflix Christmas special?
No, I completely forgot it existed. It pops up today. I was like, we should watch it. We just don't have time.
Yeah, I think it's called A Very Murray Christmas. And
Yeah.
there's a point in that where I think the bartender has like a singing moment, and I was like, I recognize this guy, and it's the fucking taxi driver like 30 years later. Yeah, so that was fun. But yeah, he's great. He's a very good singer as well, actually, in that. So yeah, I went 10-9 for him as well because, like you said, it's something different and it matched the time period and the setting perfectly. Like having it as a taxi driver and having him show up at the end, like the callback at the end when he shows up to make sure Claire gets to Frank.
Yeah,
like it's just great stuff. So yeah, I went with him as well. The next ghost up then is the ghost.
No, hold on, before we move, if I was to get in a taxi and I saw that guy, I'd probably wait for the next fucking one.
Oh yeah, I know. His fucking teeth look like he's been smoking 57 cigarettes a day for God knows how long. He's rough. He is rough. You wouldn't want to know where you live, would you?
No.
I'd take him to a false address, get out and walk for 20 minutes just in case. But yeah, we'll move on then to the best ghosts of Christmas presents. These are very, very different again. The Muppets is what's I don't know this character. It's the giant one though, right? Is this a character that's been in before? Or?
No. All the ghosts were designed specifically for the film, so this is not a Muppet that's been in before.
So it's like the giant version that eventually shrinks himself down to be more at Scrooge's level, and he's quite light-hearted compared to the first one, which was fucking straight up terrifying. He's just like he's really like easygoing, and he likes like he has a laugh, and he keeps repeating himself, which is quite hilarious at the beginning when we first introduced to him. And he has that another really catchy song with the Christmas song. Is it called that Feels Like Christmas?
Yep.
That's a great tune. That's a fucking great tune. And he's the first where Scrooge is proper going for it. Like at that point, like he's got that dancing bit, and that's the first like where he's like really lightening up. That's probably the most comical and like Muppet like Michael Caine gets in it when he's like singing and dancing with a giant fucking Muppet. But he's great fun. And then in Scrooge, you've got Carol Kane's weird angel-like fairy who just beats the piss out of Frank. Like she's got it's weird because she's got like the really like babyish cuddly voice. Like she would be the one to like coddle him and look after him, but then she beats him up, and the way like she switches her voice at times where she gets really fierce when she shouts at him. Like it's so funny. So how did you score that?
10-9 to the Muppets because he is my favorite. Like out of the three, he is my favorite ghost, and out of all the non-Muppet characters that have been in all the different Muppet films, like non-traditional Muppet movies, the ones that are created specifically for, like he is one of the best. I also I like that he's the ghost of Christmas present, so he's absent. His mind's always on the moment, which is why he's always repeating the "Come here and know me better, man." And I just love his look. He's clearly like modeled off like a Santa or a Saint Nick, and as looking at the present goes on, he gets older and older because he lives in the moment, and as that moment's passed, he dies and fades away. Like, it's really good, and it's kind of tragic as well that he kind of just moves on. But I like the song, second favorite song on that soundtrack. I like that he does start big, and it's like really like joyous, and as soon as you meet him, he immediately like opens up Scrooge. He turns him attention into it. He brings out all of the lightness in like lightheartedness in Scrooge. And then as he shrinks, and as in the song is like he shrinks down to the mice size as well, and the way he goes around and shows him everything in the present, I just think it's really good. It's just that he's just a really joyous, light-hearted Muppet that's clearly as well very technically well done, because it's clearly a guy in a suit, but with puppetry and muppetry in happening at the same time with the head. It just looks brilliant, like with the beard being all wispy and everything, just absolutely brilliant. And compared to the fucking Scrooged one, where she just beats this shit constantly out of him, just in places it doesn't even make sense. I'm sure there's a bit where she grabs his, I'm sure I remember there's a bit where she grabs his tie and just fucking headbutts him, just for fucking no reason, and knees him in the balls and shit. Like I will admit, like she's my least favorite out of the ones. Completely opposite. She's my least favorite out of the ones in Scrooge, because I just don't get. I just don't get it. Like I just don't get why it is that way. I mean, it's funny, but I just don't get it. So I think that's part of why I don't like it as much. But it is funny, and I do like the way she fucking screams at him when she's angry at him. But just doesn't hit for me. Not as much as the Ghost of Christmas Present in Muppets Christmas Carol, anyway.
Yeah, I've disagreed with you again here. I've gone 10-9 in favour of Scrooged version, because like I think the violence is funny, but I also think the moments where, like when they go to his brother's house and they're doing the quiz and she's really excited to answer the question, and she says it to him as if he's not there, like as if he can't hear, like she reads the question to him like he's a 2-year-old child, and he's like, I'm not deaf. And when he says that the answer's really easy, and she like acts upset that she's like shocked, like, oh, like because she thought she knew it. Like she's just really funny, and I think it's a really strong performance. And the stuff with like the toaster when she knocks him, and like just that's how she gets him around, just like beating him up. I think it's just really slapstick stuff, and I think it works well for the movie. I do like the Muppets version, and I do think out of the 3 ghosts in that, I think it's probably my favourite. Because
that's not moving well for the next round.
I mean, you don't know how I feel about the Scrooged version in the next round either.
That's very true.
But yeah, I think they're both good, and I think they're both funny in very, very different ways. I think the Muppets one's got a great fucking song, a great, great song. I love it. I really do. I think that's actually my favourite song from the film.
Yeah, great song.
But I think going off the character and the performance from Carol Caine as like the actress, like the way she like switches up, because she spends so much time with the really like the babyish voice, and when she switches up and she goes really like, it's like growling at him. It's a bit like did you ever watch Big Bang Theory?
Mm-hmm.
So it's I think it's Howard's wife.
Oh
like
yeah.
She's obviously got the normal voice, but when she gets angry and she like switches, that's what it felt like watching her. So I think I appreciated that one more because you can see the actress putting in the work. I think that's what tipped it over for me, just because it was down, like a lot of it came to her performance individually.
Could she get Michael Caine to do this?
No, but she might do, because if he did it, she might have just smacked his head without fucking hitting with a toaster. Yeah, we'll move on then to the last ghost, which is the ghost of Christmas Yet to Come. I mean, is there really much to say about either of these? Or are they just essentially...
Yeah, they're just like the joking spirited. They just pretty much are there to stand there and point.
Yeah.
They're both, voiceless, except for the main difference between Muppets and Scrooged is that Muppets is very, looks like Death just without the scythe. He's got the big hood, it's all ruffles, and he's got like a weird, rather than like anything that you can see, it's just got like a massive gate. It kind of looks like one of those dune sandworms, but instead of teeth, it's just fucking blackness. And then Scrooge has the television screen that's just like really distorted. Then he looks inside and it's all like the fucking mangled bodies and stuff. So in terms of character, there is no real character. They're just there to be there, big and menacing. I think we're talking about design here rather than thing. And I would go Scrooged just because it's got that little bit extra and it adapts that modern, like the Ghost of Christmas Past adapts to being in New York, and I don't really get the Ghost of Christmas Present in Scrooge, but like having the Ghost of Christmas Yet to Come, Christmas Future, having it being a TV screen, which is his life essentially, staring down at him, and then having that extra kind of body horror inside of him, just being all creepy for no apparent reason other than to just be fucking creepy. It's just a nice, cool design choice. I love I do like the Ghost of Christmas Future in the Muppets. It's a great design, but it's just very, very basic. Whereas at least Scrooge is doing something a bit more fun and a bit very, very different with the design of the character, rather than just being another kind of like death type symbol.
Yeah, like you said,
before you go, how can Scrooge not know what's fucking coming? Or Frank, how can they not know it? He looks like death. come on, you know what's like that? That's the biggest spoiler there is.
Yeah, but the thing is, there's that earlier one when he accuses it of being the Ghost of Christmas Yet's Coming. It's just the actor in costume ready for the show. And he's like, you come for me. And he's like, no, this just guy working on the show. So the next time he thinks it's the same guy, which is a really funny interaction when he, in the lift when he tilts his tie out. I think it's really fun. Obviously, there's not much personality in either. And like you said, it is a lot down to the design. So I went with Scrooged as well because, I mean, the design's effective. It works in the mold. That's why this ghost is very rarely different in any version of the character. And the Muppets one is very much the classic design. It's bog standard, but it works. Whereas I like that the Scrooge one, like you said, it changes things up to match not modern now, but at the time to match that contemporary style, and having the TV and even just the way he's introduced when he comes through the television. You've got all the different screens, but it's just the bottom one where he starts appearing and he eventually takes over on them all. Like it's a really nice way to introduce the character. And like you said, the stuff when he opens up the robe and all the different bodies are in there, and it's like I don't really know what it is. Like, is it supposed to be like the souls of the people that weren't redeemed? I don't know. I don't know if that's what it's supposed to be.
Like he's the last kind of hurdle, and if they don't redeem by then, they're fucking absorbed into his body.
It's supposed to be like the yet to come things. So maybe like that's like a hint of the future. I don't know if that's true or not, though.
I don't know this. You'll probably know it, and if we don't know it, we know somebody who will. Is there a horror movie that's Scrooged? Is there like a horror movie of Scrooged?
I don't know. I've never heard of it. I mean, we know someone that probably watched it and give it 5 stars on Letterboxd, but I've not heard of one.
You know what? Side note, because he's the best person to talk about when we talk about Letterboxd. He told me he watched the first ever video recording that lasted like 20 seconds of somebody in the 1800s recording a video of a star, and he rated it on Letterboxd. You need to get a fucking laugh.
Yeah,
do you not think of like a Christmas Carol kind of version, a horror version, where the Scrooge is like a mass murderer? So when you go into the past, you see like his first kill, and then the current kills, and then like what will be his end? Like how will he be fucking?
Yeah, that'd be interesting.
Well, I bet there's one. There's got to be one out there.
Yeah, well, they've just made. I don't know if I said this to you on a previous episode, but they've just made a horror slasher version of "It's a Wonderful Life."
All right, yeah.
Called "It's a Wonderful Knife."
You did tell me that, yeah.
I've not seen it, but it's essentially apparently she stops a mass murder thing a year in the past, and then after a year she's struggling, so she wishes she was never born, and then she gets to see what life would be like if she didn't stop it, and it carries on, and the guy that did it is just still there. So I've not seen it, but it sounds weird.
It sounds great.
I mean, I'll probably watch it at some point, but
yeah, you're definitely watching it on Christmas Day.
No, not if Eleanor has anything to say about it.
Yeah.
But yeah, like I said, I went 10-9 in favour of the Christmas Yet to Come as well, then, because it is just a more interesting design. There's not really much else to it because they are so close. And for a while, I thought about 10-10 in it, but I think those little differences are what pushes it over. Like, if Muppets had done something like even a little different, like they did with the others, like just put like a different twist on it, it would have changed it, but they didn't. And I do like what you said about like the spirited one where like they actually comment on it, which is quite fun.
Joke that he always wants to say something but can never fucking do it, and then when he finally does it, it's dead shit.
yeah, that's a good one. I like that. So yeah, I think we agree on that one. Then we've got the scores very, very close as we come into the final 3 categories. Then
right, so I'll score everything Muppets from now on. Got
you. The next one, we've got the best supporting cast.
Yeah, fuck.
This one, it's hard. This one for me actually, because in Muppets you've got the Muppets, you've got Kermit as Bob Cratchit, you've got Miss Piggy, who is actually given criminally nothing to do. Like, they needed to find something extra for her in that film. Like, it's surprising how little she's got.
What she does with her time, and I love this is my favorite thing about the Muppets. When you start talking about them, you talk about them as the real fucking people. I love it so much. But like when she's in it and when she has scenes, she like proper makes the most of it. Like at the end, when you first see him, like when they first come home, and like after Tiny Tim has died, like that moment with Piggy when she's crying over the cooking and trying to, not look sad in front of the two daughters, fucking gets me every time.
Yeah, it is a solid. I just wish they'd done more with her.
Yeah.
You've obviously got, like we said, the two at the beginning, Gonzo and Rizzo playing Charles Dickens and stuff. You've got those guys. They followed the story pretty much throughout, apart from when the Ghost of Christmas Yet to Come shows up, and they're just like, "Fuck this, we're out." You've got all the Muppets really that show up throughout. Like I said, I'm not a big Muppets guy, so I don't know the names for all, like the different ones that show up, like the ones playing like the charity workers and stuff, or all of those guys. Do you know what's wild to me is what's the character that plays his old boss called?
His old
Fozzie Wink, is it?
Yeah, Fozzie Bear, yeah.
So in the Mortum, it's actually called Fozzie Wink, right? I just assumed that was like a Muppets thing.
Fozzie Wink?
Yeah, I just assumed that'd be like a Muppets name, but that's what he's called in most of them, which is fucking wild, I think.
Oh, that's good then. That's a nice piece. I didn't know that. I thought it was just a Muppets.
I might have just made that up, but I feel like he is. Maybe I've just made that up.
Well, the two charity workers are called. That Beaker is the one that Meeps, who gives him the.
Oh yeah.
And the green one's Dr. Bunsen. So you got Dr. Bunsen and Beaker because in the Muppets they're scientists.
Oh yeah. I think I remember them in a couple of things I've seen.
And then you got Fozzie. You've got Sam the Eagle, who goes to Christmas Past, who is his teacher. And Sam I tend not to Muppets easy, but like Sam the Eagle is like the all-American thing, so it's dead funny when they do it's the American way. It's like that whispers in his ears like it's the British way, and then I fucking love it. But yeah, like I say, you got Miss Piggy, you got all the rats, which are staples. But for me, it's all the side. I love side Muppets. Like nothing is better to me than when they make vegetables and fruit and everything. When they make food into Muppets and they have mouths and little beady eyes and make them sing and talk. Fucking love him. I love it when they do that. I got Swedish Chef's in there at the party. He is my favorite. Oh no, it's a toss up between Swedish Chef and Fozzie, but they're my two favorite Muppets. But no matter how good the Scrooge cast is, and it is great with Elliot being my favorite because again he reminds me of Hercules. But you can't compete, and I fucking dare you. Oh, you're fucking gonna do it as well, you piece of shit.
Fucking right, I am.
It's the entire cast of Muppets.
What said to you?
So angry.
I don't know the Muppets like that, man.
But they're so joyous and fun.
I don't fuck with the Muppets. They're not my boys.
You
I've watched very few things. They're good. I enjoy it.
As I was saying, you can't compete again. I knew exactly what you was fucking gonna do. You
fucking right, I am. Because first of all, like I said, Bryce Cummings, who plays Lionel Luthor in Smallville, is John Glover, a fucking truly tremendous actor who was also in Batman Forever.
Oh, really? What a great film to stick.
He was in The Walking Dead. He was in the first Shazam. He did a lot of stage stuff. Like he's actually a really truly accomplished actor. I've not really watched too much of his stuff. I can't lie, but Lionel Luthor in Smallville.
So you just came.
Sensational. I also think Elliot, second to none. I think he's fantastic. Yeah. He was really fucking funny, really really funny. Carol Allen as Claire, the love interest. Like I said before, I can see why he's all about it. I can see why she's the one that melts his ear. I think she's great. She's so charming, and the way she's like, even when he's like rude, she's just like, why be like that? Like fucking chill out. Like, she doesn't rise to it. I think Grace is a great character. I get to see her home life and as a single mom with all the different kids and the way little Calvin who doesn't speak, when they decorate him with a Christmas tree, and him saying, obviously with Tiny Tim in most of the stories, it's not like a non-verbal child. So the moment when he says the God blesses everyone is always a nice moment, but it hits more for me with Calvin saying it in this. Just the entire cast, the random fucking old man that's like with the animal and with the mice when Frank tells him to staple the antlers to its head, and when Claire's like, "You better not," and he was like, "I would never." He was like, I would never do anything to this little guy." And he started listing off the animals that he's got that he wouldn't hurt, like he's talking to the RSPCA. I think it's so funny. The random woman that is like the health inspector, and she tries to shut things down, and then she gets swatted by like 8 different things. Yeah. She's great. The homeless man who eventually dies, he's got like 3 scenes, and it still somehow really hits hard when Frank finds him like frozen to death, like underground. I think that's a really emotional scene. So that guy's not even got much, but when he does show up, it really works. Like Elliot, just his life falling apart within one day of being sacked. Like he's been fired, and within 24 hours he's drinking spirits on the street. Like whose life just collapses that quickly? It's fucking so funny. Like the entire cast, I just think is brilliant. And like I do like the Muppets cast, but the Muppets aren't something I've ever really been that bothered about. Like they're fine, but like I said, I couldn't even name most of them. So,
son of a bitch.
So yeah, 10-9.
What I love about the Muppets, even though you're always consciously aware you're watching the Muppets and that they are Muppets, like you never forget the Muppet. I'm not trying to say that you forget you're watching a frog and a pig and a bear and a weird nose thing and a rat. Like you never forget that, but you kind of do forget it because it just feels natural. Like it's not like some weird CG creature that looks outdated or whatever. It always kind of feels natural, and you get invested in, like say we talk about them as if they're real people when you're talking about their acting and stuff like that. So that's one of the reasons I love it. That, and they're just so fucking joyous. Like when Rizzo, when they're lighting the lamp and like Rizzo's like the lamp not the right, like the lamp not the right, and all the fucking funny quotes that they all get. Like I mean, Rizzo again, like when he climbs over the fucking gate and then he forgets his jelly beans, so he just walks straight through the gate to get him. The fucking breaks me. And it's those like kind of small Muppetisms that I really, really love that I just don't think you can replicate anywhere else with any other kind of character. They just work perfectly for it. And like I say, you can watch a fucking little felt frog that's got like a weird little hump and a little cough and like be genuinely sad when you know he's dead, and be sad that it's Kermit the Frog fucking talking about it. And that's why I love it. I do like the Scrooge cast. Like as you're talking through them, I'm like, yeah, they're fucking great, but can't beat the Muppets for me, I'm afraid. I'm a Muppet boy. In fact, I keep looking at them all the way through talking about it. I got a Ghostbusters Lego set, and then when they released the Muppet Lego earlier this year, or was it last year? I can't remember. I just took off all the heads and just replaced them with Muppets. So I've got Ghostbuster Muppets next to my Ghostbusters Ecto-1 car.
That's quite fitting that one of those Ghostbusters, Bill Murray's just been replaced by a Muppet.
Yeah. He's been replaced by Kermit.
I mean, at least it's the main Muppet. So,
well, in reality, he probably should be Fozzie because he's the Joker bear. So,
yeah. Yeah, he makes some good points about the Muppets, but 10-9 Scrooge.
Yeah, not changing your mind is what you're saying. Yeah,
not at all. Not at all.
No, I've noticed in this is we never actually change our score based on what we say. Maybe the podcast should be more about me trying to change your score and you trying to change mine.
There was one when you changed yours.
There was, and it fucked me right at the end. Was it Milan? Yeah.
I talked about the importance of strong female characters, and you bottled it.
I'll take it back. They're not needed.
So we've got 2 categories left. Then we've got.
I'm not taking it back. Strong female power, because at some point, I know you probably cut that out or use it against me at some point.
Yeah, probably. So yeah, that's like 6 categories in a row, I think there, or something like that, with its all cast. So we'll move on then to the music in both, and I'm going to say right off the bat, there's no arguing this one, is there?
Don't even fucking try it.
I can give it as good a fucking go as I want, but it's not happening. I'm not even going to bother talking about it. It's Muppets 10-9.
Muppets is more of a musical anyway than Scrooge.
Yeah.
Scrooge has some great musical moves, especially at the end. But no, even if you tried, I would probably just close this Zoom call down and fucking no, not doing this podcast no more. Fuck you.
in good conscience, I can't, because like you said, the Muppets is actually a musical, first of all. So there's so many different musical numbers, and some of them I really, really enjoy. Like I said, the Feels Like Christmas one I think is great. The Marley and Barley one I really like. And then you compare it to Scrooged, where the song at the end is fantastic. Like, I love it so much. When everyone sings it, I think it's such a good way to end the film. And it's just a really catchy song, which I hadn't heard before the movie, and apparently it was a fairly decent hit. But then after the movie, it became huge again, which is it's a nice effect for it. But it's a really nice way to end it. But other than that, there's not really much music aside from the score, which I do think is really well done in certain areas, like the bits where he's in the restaurant and the waiters, he keeps like hallucinating that the waiter's on fire and stuff. Like the score then is so like ominous, like it's kind of creepy, but it's really effective, and I do like the score and I like the song at the end. But the Muppets is just, it's got some straight bops. So yeah, I couldn't, as much as I like Scrooge, I couldn't even argue that. There's no chance.
Marley and Marley's my favorite. I love Feels Like Christmas, but I also really love just Kermit and Tiny Tim walking down the street doing the scatting. 'Tis the Season song. Really, really love it. But all like, and at the end as well, when they all, like, that's how the film ends with a well, it's actually a reprise of a song that's cut. So there's a song in the Ghost of Christmas Past when him and his girlfriend or fiance break up, and you can watch that version on Disney Plus now. But there's a song that's cut about like losing the love between them, and weirdly the end of the film is a repeat of that song that isn't in the final film, but it works. It still works. I just really love it.
Yeah, it's nice that they both end with some really strong musical numbers. Like, what better way to end a Christmas film than with a good fucking sing song? You just can't. You fucking can't. And one where it like goes through the cast and shows random people that popped up in the movie earlier singing along. You fucking, it's an easy win. Straight up easy fucking win. It always does well. I love it. Both endings with the songs are great, but the Muppets songs, there's too many for Scrooge to even compete. Like, it's a musical. No normal movie is ever going to win a music round against a musical. Like,
No.
the songs are so catchy as well. Like, it's not that it's just quantity, but it's also quality. Like, there's some really good stuff in there. So that's probably the easiest round I've scored.
Yeah, and I mean, the Scrooge song has probably got one of the best lyrics in any song of all time. When they say "no cheeses for us Mises," it's just fucking brilliant. It's just like a nice fucking little line in it.
Yeah. Yeah. That's it then. One last category. The scores are ever so close.
Are you adding them up as we're going along, or are you waiting
Yeah,
until?
yeah. I've been adding them up. Yeah, I've got it all written down here. It's been going back and forth. It's quite interesting.
So basically, I don't know if I can tip the scales to my film, but you know if you can tip the scales to yours.
Yeah, that's true. Actually, that is true. But the last category is legacy, and I don't know who the fuck I'd be trying to kid if I said that the Scrooge legacy was better than the Muppets. So I've gone 10-9 in favour of Muppets.
Yeah, 10-9 in favour of Muppets for sure.
I
Scrooge
think-
is great. I like, ever since you introduced me to it last year, it will be one of those films that I would like look forward to watch each Christmas. Not with Grace, she hates it, but I would look forward to watching it each Christmas. And it is really good, but I don't think many people know about it, especially like younger people is what I meant to say.
My age range, you mean?
No, definitely younger, because you're getting on a bit now, mate. I mean, not. I realise that within 6 months I will be 35, but I am still.
God.
I know, but I am still going to push that you are getting on a bit. And I love Scrooge. It's definitely going to be in the rotation. I think more people should watch it, but everybody knows about Muppets Christmas. It's one of those that you just need to watch at Christmas, and it's a feel-good one. And I think it's one of those where no matter what age you are, you can watch it, and it's one of those where, like, if and when I have kids, I'll be able to show it to them. It won't age because it's kind of ageless.
Yeah. I think, like, coming when we started this, we said these are our two favourite versions of A Christmas Carol. There's been so many, but Muppets is probably the most universally loved. That's the one that I think almost everyone will point as being the best. So there's no question at all that the legacy is so much better. It's aged better for modern fans. It's still so accessible to younger audiences. I mean, a large part of it is probably because it is the Muppets, and kids, no matter what age, can put that on and they'll love it. The Muppets are like, it's like an ageless thing, whereas Scrooged is it's a lot more for mature audiences because there was a lot of scary stuff and there's a lot of foul language.
Yeah.
I can't believe I almost got through, by the way, before even talking about Bill Murray's comment when he's like, I want to see her nipples. And you straight up can, when it pans out, you can see it. It's like, Jesus Christ, it's a Christmas film, for Christ's sake. But yeah, I think the scary elements to Scrooged and the fact it's from a much more mature audience, it hasn't aged as well. And a lot of people it's weird, a lot of people, I was reading up on it yesterday, and it's like 50-50 where when it came out, some people said it was too mean-spirited, but then others said it was too sentimental. So I'm like, this doesn't really add up. It doesn't really...
Where do you fit in?
Yeah, I think it's... I mean, I don't think it's either. I don't think it's too mean-spirited or too much anyway. I think it's perfect.
Oh, okay. So
too much of anything. I think it's great.
I would say it's probably one of those films like, Violent Night and stuff like that, where it's they can be seen as fun Christmas movies, but they do have like a darker edge to them. It is I would probably fall in the camp of it is a bit more mean spirited, but it doesn't stop it from having like I said earlier, like a massive positivity to it as well. Like when it comes to the end, but I think it comes off as mean spirited because it's more modern. Like you can kind of get lost in the fantasy and the Dickensianness of it all. Like when it's set in the 1800s or Victorian or whatever that time period is, but because it's modern and you see people like dying on the street and all that kind of, and it's more I think even though it's 80s, it's still more relatable. So it feels a lot more mean because you can kind of see a bit more real life into it. Whereas I still think it's got like a lot of positivity in it, but the Muppets is just, even in the dark parts, even the parts when he's sad, it's still brimming with hope and positivity and that nice like redemption positive feeling in it. I don't think you feel the redemption in Scrooged as much as you do Muppets, because of he's still living day to day between each visit rather than it all just kind of happening and kind of turning. And it's because it's Bill Murray at the end, I just don't feel like you get that massive kind of redemption thing. So maybe that's part of why it's not as, universally loved as Muppets. But again, it is definitely due to the age thing. It's one of those films you watch when you're older, but if you're watching things from as a kid, you're gonna love it for a lot longer. Like there's loads of films that I like that are trash, but because you love them as a kid. Like Jingle All the Way is shit. If you look at it objectively, it's shit. But because I loved it as a kid, it's a fantastic movie, and I will love watching it. Not
like 8 out of 9 Star Wars movies and all.
Yeah, Attack of the Clones is the worst.
Phantom Menace is the GOAT.
Phantom Menace is the GOAT. I cannot wait till May. If we do what I've said I want to do for stuff, I can't wait.
Yeah, that'll be good. But yeah, I understand why it's not as loved. Like you said, it is way more adult, and there is a lot more of a mean-spiritedness to it. Like even stuff like the Ghost of Christmas Present just attack, like beating him up, and the homeless man, inserting that to really drive home like the importance of taking care of people around you. Like that's not something for kids. Like the homeless man frozen to death with that smile on his face is quite fucking terrifying. Like it's a creepy scene, and the souls in the rib cage of the Ghost of Christmas Yet to Come, it's terrifying. It isn't a family friendly movie. It's definitely from kids, as older kids. I mean, I still think kids can watch it, but I don't think it's for children. Kids. I think teenagers is fine. I think I first watched it when I was maybe like 11, 12, and I loved it from there. Huh?
and you turned out fine.
Yeah, exactly. That turned out brilliantly.
What I do like about Scrooge is that you don't really see much in these kind of stories. Is that the ghosts seem to be having an effect on the world as it's happening as well. Like you say with the cab driver, he picks them up at the end, like, and helps her get to where she needs to be. So she's there at the end. So it and you know, like the thing you don't kind of see that when he's getting the quiz, and then at the end he's like he says the answers. You don't really ever get the sense, like in all other adaptations, you always get the sense that it's a dream and that he's waking up from it, rather than he's actually done it. And this one, he's physically like living it, which I do really like. But again, Muppets is just joyous. Like in everything they do, like it feels like a period piece with Muppets. And then like when the Ghost of Christmas Past flies off and they've got the grappling hook and grab onto him and fly away with them and stuff like that. Just those little added pieces just add to the joy and like the hope of the entire film. And I just think it elevates it, and it'll keep it timeless. It's definitely going to be, because it's the effects on it are mostly practical, except for like a few like screen warps and sparkles and stuff. It's all practical, so it will hold up forever, I think, as a classic Christmas movie.
Yeah, I think that's the most important bit. I think Scrooged, while a great movie, is an 80s movie and it feels like an 80s movie. Whereas Muppets could be made tomorrow, it could be made 50 years ago. It'll always feel the same. And I think a large part of that is the period, the fact it's a period piece, but also with the Muppets, it doesn't age. The technology will never look poor. Like it always looks as good as it did the day it was released. And I think that has definitely given it legs. So yeah, there's no doubt that has a better legacy. And I've got the scores here now. It's very close. So 191.
So I'm going to say, based off. Oh no, because you kind of have given it to Muppets for a few times.
We've both surprisingly been fairly even. Like
yeah,
I thought you'd be very one-sided.
Yeah, it's not like Josh when we did the Spider-Man, where he just ranked Spider-Man, Tobey Maguire Spider-Man last in everything.
I know, yeah. He's probably got a picture of Tobey Maguire as a fucking dartboard in his bedroom, for Christ's sake.
he gets custom made toilet paper with Tobey Maguire's face on each sheet.
So I'm seeing Josh on Saturday. We've got each other Christmas presents, and I wish now that I've got him some Tobey Maguire Spider-Man themed stuff, but I haven't.
That'd be great. I don't think I've got anything that I could even give you to give it to him. That's brilliant. I'm gonna say, I wish I'd been keeping track now. I'm gonna say I think Muppets came out on top. I'm gonna take a risky guess.
So it's 191 to 189 in favour of a Muppets Christmas Carol.
Yeah, of course it fucking is.
Yeah, Muppets won. I think that's fair, to be honest. Like, Scrooge is my favourite, but I've got no problem in like admitting that Muppets is the most beloved universally, and it is a really good fucking movie. So it's not like my favourites against some trash.
Yeah.
I mean, it's a fair battle, I think.
What was the last time we did two favourite films? Was it literally the first episode we did, Back to the Future and Ghostbusters?
Yeah, Back to the Future Ghostbusters, I think.
So it's 1-1.
Yeah. Yeah. I don't know what else there is.
No, I think it's more, not that it's more deserving. They're two very different versions of adaptations. But, I mean, from everything we've just said, it's a classic that's not going to age. It's got Muppets in it. You can't fucking beat that. Clearly.
Everyone.
Mine's the fucking winner. And it's for everyone. Everybody can watch it. I think even like the grumpiest old shit could watch it. Even the grumpiest old Scrooge could watch it and feel uplifted. Whereas Scrooge is very much a different beast in itself, and it's way more of a comedy and way more like poking fun of itself as well.
Yeah, I think that's it. I think, like you said, anyone can watch it. Whereas Scrooge, I think you've got to have a certain type of sense of humour. You've got to be in a certain mood to watch that one, I think. Whereas Muppets, you could put that on with your mum, you could put it on with your granddad, you could put it on with your kid. Like, anyone will enjoy that film, I think. Unless you're miserable. Like, if you watch that and you're like, nah, fuck this, then sort yourself out.
I think the biggest red flag to me is anybody tells me they don't like anything Muppets.
Yeah.
If they say they don't like the Muppets, it's a red flag.
It's just like, cheer up a bit. Life's not too serious.
Yeah, it's a talking frog.
Yeah. Yeah. It's definitely, those two are definitely my favourites. So I wasn't too fussed which one won, to be honest. I think this is a good result. It's a close one, way closer than I thought it'd be. I knew mine would be fairly close.
I thought when we first said we were going to do it, I thought it'd be a tie.
Did you? What, you think it's going to be like 10-9 across the board on each side?
Yeah.
No. I knew I'd be fairly close. I didn't think yours would be as close a score, though.
Yeah, I mean, I surprised myself, but it's, I love the Muppets. It's definitely my favorite Christmas movie of all time. But there are parts of Scrooge that I do prefer in terms of like the Ghost of Christmas Future and the Ghost of Christmas Past and stuff like that. So yeah. Also, we went through this entire episode without mentioning the fact that Kermit the Frog and Miss Piggy have two daughters who are perfectly good, perfectly normal pigs, which weird. I don't know how that works. But the frog must be the degenerative gene, because they have one frog child and he's all
it's crippled. Yeah, it's weird how it works. At least with Shrek, they just mix the donkeys and dragons together. That's the genetics we want to see.
I've never understood Miss Piggy and Kermit, but that's part of the
strange one. It is a strange one. But no, that's good. I think it's interesting. That was actually tied into the very last round. If either of us had scored that last round different, it would have been a different score. But the legacy was hard to argue. So yeah, 191, for Muppets Christmas Carol and 189 for Scrooged. We have a winner. Our first Christmas Carol episode. There's like fucking 150 versions of that film we could do.
The next year we'll do.
Yeah, there's so many to choose from.
Carey versus some like dead serious version.
Yeah, like Albert Finney's from the 70s. Oh no, I think that's a musical actually. I don't think that's serious.
We could find the. I'm sure we could find the horror. I bet there's a horror movie.
It'll be on a certain friend's letterbox. So.
Well, we'll ask him.
But yeah, that brings another showdown to an end then.
In our second Christmas episode, and now Christmas is over.
Yeah, that's fucking tragic. Look, fortunately though, we haven't even said it yet, but this episode should be at Christmas Eve. So Merry Christmas Eve to all who celebrate, which is probably everyone who watches.
We're fingering. We've got our fingers crossed.
Beg pardon.
Fingers.
Yeah. No, it'll be out. Should be fine. There's not 3 of us and fucking 100 different ways to try editing this time. So
I've got to try not to die between now and putting it out.
Yeah, very true. Very true.
Nice.
Got a busy couple of days as well, so I'll have to find
something. That makes it better.
Yeah. I'll figure it out. It'll be out before Christmas, let me tell you. It is like a Christmas film. Everything's going wrong, but we've got to get there before Christmas.
And we'll do it. We'll do it. It'll probably be our lowest rated, our lowest viewed episode, because everybody's too busy at Christmas. So
what better way to spend Christmas morning than opening your presents with our voices in the background though, everyone?
We need to timestamp that so I can cut it out again. Let's do a little promo. So what better way this Christmas? It's like them. Do you remember like on VH? I don't know if you remember like watching VH1, but they used to do like the adverts for like collections of music, and it like scroll down and was like, what better way to enjoy this Christmas season by listening to an episode of CineMatch podcast?
That's what we should do,
featuring such hits as
Nathan saying phenomenal 15 million times.
Or you say
let's move on then.
Let's move on then.
Well, it's there for you.
Or just mentioning Dan.
Yeah, or Josh's meltdown. Do there. But yeah, that brings this episode to an end, guys. I hope you enjoyed watching / listening. If you want to follow us on any of the social platforms, they should be underneath here, I believe. Or up here, I don't know where they're.
No, they're down here. Yeah, they're down. It's been a while since I've had to do it. It's been 2 weeks.
Yeah, a bit rusty. But yeah, if you did, you want to say?
You'll see us New Year's Eve, I think, if we're still doing what we said.
New Year's Eve will be the Sunday.
Yeah. You can't remember what we discussed for New Year's, can you?
Not one bit.
You will see us on New Year's Eve.
Can't remember at all yet. You'll see us New Year's Eve then. That'll be when the next episode's out. If you did like this episode and you're watching on YouTube, please feel free to like the video and subscribe to the channel. Vice versa, if you're listening on any of the audio channels, feel free to follow the show on there and give us a rating. Unless it's like 1 star, then kindly fuck off.
Yeah, hopefully you've come back after completely forgetting we exist.
Yeah, after we've gone fucking MIA for a few weeks while I've been clutching at my deathbed.
It's fine. Everybody's busy at Christmas.
Yeah, it's Christmas, isn't it?
I think our most liked post since like we first kind of started doing it together has been the really sorry, think life has just hit us hard post. I think I had the most likes between our story and our actual post. I think I has had the most likes. So I mean, thanks for
pity.
No, I think it's understanding. So thanks for the understanding, guys.
Yeah, people want to get our asses kicked and they just pity us.
It's been so fucking tiring. Like we're literally we're finishing recording at 11:30 at night.
Yeah, I've got work at 8 a.m.
Oh, I'm not. I've got a day off tomorrow.
Well, it's all right for some of us. Slaving away. But yeah, thanks for watching, guys, and we appreciate your patience for the last couple of weeks as we've been busy as fuck. But I've only got like 6 months left to uni, so
yeah, it's only 6 months left. What's that?
Get in there.
4 weeks in a month. How many?
24.
Thank you.
Yeah. I'm a writer, but maths, I'm pretty fucking sick at me adds and me subtractions. Don't worry about that.
I ain't got enough fingers and toes. I can only count to 11.
Where are you from again?
Yeah, I think you're missing the 1 digit.
What?
No, don't matter. What else can I use as a digit?
Oh, okay.
Fucking hell.
I just thought you were calling yourself inbred.
But I am from Ladybrook.
So that's why I asked where you're from. When you said 11, I thought you meant you had 11 fingers. I was like, oh, he's inbred then.
No, it was a penis joke.
Merry Christmas. At Christmas as well.
Yeah.
Terrible. Fucking terrible. But like I said, it's late, so we're going to head off now, guys. Peace out. Merry Christmas. And we shall see you.
We'll see you in the new year if you remember what we're doing.
Yeah. We'll see you at New Year's. Bye.
Bye.